Hey guys, and what is up? It's your boy Tise here. Almost a year ago, I made a video where I talked about the few 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games that I actually like. So I thought for that today's video, I should make a countdown of my top 5 favourite Sonic the Hedgehog games and talk about why I like them and what makes them my favourite Sonic games. Also, some of the gameplay used in this video has been borrowed from 2 different YouTube channels that mostly make video game playthroughs. So I'll leave links to those 2 channels in the description, and there'll also be text credits in the video for when their gameplay shows up. So anyway, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Starting off at the number 5 spot is Sonic Generations. Sonic Generations is my 5th favourite Sonic game, as its modern Sonic levels are for the most part extremely fun to play through, with them improving upon the formula of Sonic Unleashed's daytime levels in many ways. From the much improved control the player has over Sonic, to the very expansive level design with every one of modern Sonic's levels containing lots of ways to get to the goal, much like the acts and zones of the original Mega Drive Sonic games. I also quite enjoy classic Sonic's levels, which try to replicate the feeling of playing the original Mega Drive games, and they do a pretty damn good job at that, even if the controls and physics aren't exactly one-to-one with those original Mega Drive games. And also, Sonic Generations has the best bosses in the entire series, with every rival battle and boss battle being an absolute banger, well, except for the last boss. Anyway, Sonic Generations is a great game which I for the most part really enjoy playing, thus it earns its place of being my 5th favourite Sonic game. Next up at the number 4 spot is the Nintendo DS version of Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors on the DS is my 4th favourite Sonic game, as it's just a fun as hell game from beginning to end. All of the main levels are really fun to blast through, with them for the most part using the same gameplay formula as Sonic Rush, while also fixing most of that game's issues and expanding the level design with more routes and paths. Sonic Colors also introduces a bunch of new alien power-ups for Sonic, and in the DS version they're all mostly fun to use, and can help you reach different areas in the levels. Most of the game's boss fights are also fun too, and so are the special stages, though they do drag on a bit long for my liking. With that aside though, Sonic Colors is a great game which I love playing, thus it earns its place of being my 4th favourite Sonic game. At the number 3 spot is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Sonic 3 Knuckles is my 3rd favourite Sonic game, as it refines and mostly perfects the gameplay formula of the first 2 Mega Drive Sonic games, with Sonic 3 Knuckles having bigger levels which have lots of routes, paths and hidden areas, 3 playable characters that all have their own unique abilities, and the game perfects how special stages should be handled in a Sonic game. As well as all that, Sonic 3 Knuckles also introduces new bonus stages, the Elemental Shields, 2 sets of emeralds to obtain with every character at least having their own super form, a pretty cool competition mode with its own unique levels and music, and for the first time ever, every act in the game ends with its own boss fight. Sonic 3 Knuckles is just a fantastic game all around, thus it earns its place of being my 3rd favourite Sonic game. Next up at the number 2 spot is Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania is my 2nd favourite Sonic game, as it's basically Sonic 3 Knuckles again, but it even further refines and perfects the gameplay formula of the original Mega Drive Sonic games, with Sonic Mania having the best level design and best special stages of the entire series, as well as some really good boss fights, and its Encore DLC expansion sweetens the deal even further, with 2 new playable characters and a new way to replay the game. I even made a review of Sonic Mania a few months ago where I proclaimed it to be the best Sonic game ever, so if you want to hear more on why Sonic Mania is just so great, then I'd highly recommend watching my review of the game. Anyway, Sonic Mania is an absolutely fantastic game which I love playing, thus it earns its place of being my 2nd favourite Sonic game. Finally, at the number 1 spot is Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed is my absolute favourite Sonic game, as well as my favourite game of all time, as its daytime regular Sonic levels, which bring the boost formula from Sonic Rush into 3D, are absolutely thrilling to play through and are also the fastest levels of any Sonic game. The nighttime Werehog levels are also really fun too, with them featuring a classic God of War like combat system with tons of unlockable moves, as well as a decent variety of unique enemies, plenty of solid pull grabbing and swinging platforming action, and also an easy skill barrier which makes it obvious when someone complaining about the Werehog levels didn't bother learning the combat system and just kept getting their ass kicked trying to button mash their way through every fight. Sonic Unleashed also has the best story and best world building of any Sonic game in my opinion, and the game looks spectacular for a game released in 2008, and the soundtrack is also phenomenal as well. And while the game does have a couple major issues, I don't mind putting up with them as I love this game so freaking much. Thus, Sonic Unleashed earns its place of being my absolute favourite Sonic game as well as my favourite game of all time. So yeah, those were my top 5 most favourite Sonic the Hedgehog games. And if you think I have trash taste for not mentioning Sonic Adventure 2, then leave an essay in the comments explaining why the game that's mostly just boring mech levels and annoying treasure hunting stages is the absolute pinnacle of the Sonic series. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my video, I really appreciate it, and if you enjoyed watching this video, then I'm glad you enjoyed watching it too. Anyway, I'll see you all later in the next video. Peace out guys.